Hey guys, Wet Movie 1 back here again for another Blu-ray DVD update video for you guys today. It's been about 2 weeks or so since my last one. Got a big old stack of goodies here to talk to you guys about today. But before I show you the first one, give this video a thumbs up if you guys support my videos. Also, drop a comment down below. I like interacting with you guys down there. But first up here from Scream Factory is Deadly Eyes here on Blu-ray for the very first time. This is a killer rat movie that came out back in 1982 about these rats that eat this condemned corn and grow to the sizes of dogs and take over the city of Toronto, killing anything in their path. And it's pretty much up to a health inspector and a high school basketball coach to try to, take out these rats and save the city. That's the basic synopsis of this film. I have never seen this movie up until now, until I got this Blu-ray, but I've always liked killer rat movies like Ben and Willard. But I was really pleasantly surprised by like the rat effects in there and like the little bit of gore that they have in this film. I thought they came off really kind of creepy because when I was watching the behind the scenes that's on this Blu-ray here, which is about like 25 minutes long, like a making of, you come to find out that the rats in this movie are not really rats, they're dogs, dressed up in rat costumes, which I thought was absolutely kind of fun to know. And you also get bonus interviews on here by different actors and actresses from the film talking about their experiences on the making of the film. It's just a really cool flick that came out in the 80s that I don't know why I missed until now, but if you guys get a chance, definitely check this one out. It looked pretty good on Blu-ray in 1080p. See it out there, guys. Definitely check out Deadly Eyes. I liked it. Next up is Lake Placid here on Blu-ray, the collector's edition. This is the film that came out back in, 1999, starring Bill Pullman, Bridget, Fonda, Oliver Platt. It's also directed by Steve Miner, the guy that directed Halloween H2O and Friday the 13th 2 and 3, I believe. And it's pretty much about this small, quiet New England town that gets overrun by a big 30-foot alligator that's killing, everyone in everyone in his path. And it's pretty much about the small town's police officers and wildlife, fishing game to try to take care of this big beast before he kills again. That's pretty much the synopsis of this movie. I've always really liked movies from this time period, like The Relic and Anaconda, killer animal kind of movies. And this one is just right up there for me because when I watched it for the first time, Betty White's character in this film is the one that made the movie completely awesome for me. That and Oliver Platt is just absolutely funny in this film. And on this Blu-ray here, you get a making of the film, which is about like half hour or so. But this movie looks really good on Blu-ray. I would give it a 9 out of 10 for the transfer quality on this one. You also get a vintage featurette, TV spots, theatrical trailers, and an interview with the special effects artist team, talking about how they, created the alligator and things like that. But if you guys have never seen this one, definitely check it out. It also spawned 3 straight-to-DVD sequels, which I kind of like still also. But that's Lake Placid here on Blu-ray. I like this one. I thought the transfer on it was pretty decent too. But next up from Paramount is Bad Grandpa .5 here on Blu-ray, starring Johnny Knoxville. And you may be asking yourselves, Bad Grandpa .5, what is that? It's an all-new documentary film on the making of Jackass's Bad Grandpa, and and they have added skits in there, like stuff that they didn't want to put in a theatrical release because they didn't think it was good enough, kind of thing. Like some of it's a little bit more raunchy, some of it is just kind of like I understand why they didn't want to use it, and in the whole theatrical release of the film. But I just had to check this one out because I'm a fan of the Jackass franchise, and I liked Bad Grandpa when it first came out. But if you guys want to learn more about the filmmaking process and how the Jackass team puts together a movie, definitely check this one out because you get interviews in there with Spike Jonze, Johnny Knoxville, and the team. Just talking about the history of Irving Zisman and how he started in the Jackass franchise and how he evolved throughout the years and how Bad Grandpa was nominated for an Academy Award for Best makeup and stuff of last year. It is an enjoyable watch. But I thought it was going to be like the other Jackass, like Jackass 3.5, when it's just a whole new movie of just all straight new skits. But it wasn't like that. It was mostly documentary style of them just talking about the history of Irving Zisman and, the making of the film. But I liked it for what it was. But that's Jackass .5 unrated here on Blu-ray. Next up from Sony is the Raid 2 here on DVD. This movie takes place 2 hours after the original Raid movie, and now Rama, the main character of the film, is being asked by his boss to go undercover to infiltrate the big crime boss of the town to help him to take him down from the top. And it's just pretty much his mission along the way, and how he has to go into prison to try to become friends with the big crime boss's son, and how he tries to get more and more information about how the crime families are working and things like that. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really see the big hype when it comes to the Raid movies. Like, they have killer action scenes, those are amazing, like really fist pounding, thrilling action sequences. But this movie right here was just really dialogue heavy, and it really kind of took me out of the movie, because when I go into movies like this, I really go into them just to see the amazing fight scenes and the great choreography, and how all the stuntmen come together and make amazing art. But in this one, it's just really talky. It just really kind of made me go, okay, please, let's get to the next action scene. I'm tired of you guys talking already, because the story is kind of going nowhere, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But like, if you're going to this movie, you really should just know you're going into it to see some good, kick-ass action scenes, just like the original film that came out a few years ago. I don't know, man. I can't highly recommend this one, but it is totally worth a rent. But the running time on this one is 150 minutes long. But that's the Raid 2 here on DVD. Check it out if you guys want to see some awesome fight scenes, because those are amazing in this film. But next up over here is Make Your Move here on Blu-ray. This is pretty much about a guy. His name's Donnie. He's kind of down on his luck, but yet all he knows is how to dance and tap and make money on the streets by dancing, until he comes across this beautiful girl who's a dancer also, and they strike up this relationship with each other. They fall in love with each other, but yet to come to find out that their brothers, Donnie's brother and the girl's brother, each own 2 dance clubs, and they have a big rivalry going on, and they're caught in the middle of it. And that's the basic synopsis of the movie. It's kind of a loose, weak kind of storyline, but you pretty much watch this movie just for the dancing, kind of like the Raid 2, how you pretty much just watch it for the action scenes and the amazing choreography and stuff. Same goes for this one right here. I thought it looked amazing on Blu-ray. I always loved dance movies like Step Up and what was like Save the Last Dance and a whole like Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo, and think movies like that. But like this one right here has like some really nice dance scenes in it, but it feels kind of low budget compared to movies like Step Up 3 that have looks like they have big budgets and like big super choreographed numbers and just like a bigger budgeted kind of film. This one seems like it was scaled down a little bit, and they just had to work with what they had, and what they had was pretty decent in this film. I don't know, I kind of liked it for a dancing movie. It had a lot of decent characters in there that you come to really like in the movie. But that's Make Your Move here. Definitely check it out if you guys are into dancing movies like Save the Last Dance. Definitely worth watching. I liked it. Alright guys, next up from Lionsgate is Under the Skin here, starring Scarlett Johansson. And in this film, Scarlett Johansson plays an alien coming down to Earth just to seduce men, to bring men into her lair, and she's combing the streets of Scotland to do so. And this is her mission of doing what she's doing. You have to watch this movie to find out, because I don't want to give it away to you guys. I thought this movie was very atmospheric. It was shot beautifully, but it just also kind of, after a while, I got kind of taken out of the film, because it kind of got arty for me a little bit, to be honest with you. I mean, I thought the idea of it was cool, but like if when you watch it, it feels like you're kind of in a weird dream kind of state a little bit, and I just kind of got thrown out of the film. And I found out by watching some of the special features and other people talking about the film that a lot of the actors in the movie are not really actors. They're like real people that they just filmed off the street and things. And I thought that was very, very interesting to find out about this movie. It's just a really kind of strange movie. I don't think a lot of you guys out there are gonna really dig. It's totally one of those ones you're gonna need to rent first before you run out there and buy it and things, because I don't know if a lot of people are actually gonna really like this one. It's like one of those ones you're really gonna like it or hate it. With me, I'm kind of in the middle with it right now. But if you see it out there, give it a chance. Rental wise, like at Redbox, Under the Skin. Scarlett Johansson is absolutely wonderful in this movie. And next up over here is A Day Late and a Dollar Short here, starring Vin Rhames and Whoopi Goldberg and Mekhi Phifer. This film is pretty much about Whoopi Goldberg's character. She's just got, told by the doctor she only has a few days to live because she just suffered, an asthmatic attack and it almost ended her, and she can die at any moment now. So her in this movie is her trying to get her family together for one last time to tell them what's happening with her, and just to try to get them all together to see how everyone's doing. But yet she has a very dysfunctional family. One of her kids, her son, just got out of jail and has this family problem, and all her daughters are always fighting with one another and have their own problems within their families, and it's just one big chaotic mess. But it's just her just trying to struggle with the family problems and try to get them together just to set things straight before she passes away. I thought this movie was a very wonderfully told story. It was made for life. It's a made for lifetime movie. It was for TV and things. So like some parts are really melodramatic. Like they really hit you with some of the drama stuff, like a little bit way too much in some scenes. Like how could this happen and that happen and this happen all within like 3 minutes of each other? Really kind of like over the top kind of stuff. But still, I like the performances in here by Vin Rhames. He can do no wrong for me. Ever since like People Under the Stairs and things. Always loved Whoopi Goldberg from Sister Act. On over to Theodore Rex and pretty much anything she did. I always liked her movies and things. She hasn't done a lot of movies in a long time, and it's kind of cool to see her back in things again. But if you see this out there, guys, I liked it very much. It is totally worth a rental here. Alright guys, next up from Magnolia is Stage Fright here on Blu-ray, starring Minnie Driver and Meatloaf, who you guys all know from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And in this film, it's about this young girl who wants to be just like her mother. Her mother is a very famous stage actress, and at the beginning of this film, she gets murdered, and in the rest of her life, she's always kind of like, what happened to my mother and who killed her? And now she's like 10 years older. She's at this theater camp working in the kitchen, and this theater camp is putting on the same production, same play that her mom died playing, and she's trying out for the same role her mother played years ago because she wants to be just like her mother. And as soon as she does so, she gets the part in the play. Then all this craziness starts happening again, like people are getting murdered, and she's like, "What's the curse?" when it comes to this play? And it's pretty much her trying to figure out who the murderer is, and people at the camp are getting picked off one by one kind of thing. That's a simple synopsis of the movie. But this movie is way more musical than it is horror film. You know what I mean? This is like kids coming to camp going, we're here, we're gonna have fun today. It's more like a musical, like Sound of Music musical or West Side Story kind of musical. But it's kind of a mix between that and horror. But I think it's like 80% musical than horror. But I thought this movie was absolutely a lot of fun because I love musical films and I love horror films. So I thought this was a real decent watch, and Meatloaf playing the father was just a great casting choice in my opinion. But on this Blu-ray here, it's packed with special features with deleted scenes and making of. But if you see this out there, definitely give it a chance. I think it might be a remake from an 80s slasher film of the same name, but I'm not quite sure if the one from the 80s was the same exact storyline or not. I can't really remember. Haven't seen it in years. And next up over here is a really crazy over-the-top kind of film, and that is Nymphomaniac, Volumes 1 and 2 here on Blu-ray. It's pretty much about this middle-aged man, played by, what's his name again? Stellan Skarsgård. He's a middle-aged man. He's walking around, and he finds this lady beaten up and left for dead on the street, and he picks her up and takes her in and cleans her up and wants to, find out what happened to her. But yet, the lady wants to tell him what happened, but she has to start from the beginning of her life. Tell him the story of her whole life and how she became a super nymphomaniac. If you guys don't know what a nymphomaniac is a person that just loves sex and just loves having sex all the time, and how crazy people can get when it comes to that. And in the first volume of this film is following this young lady's escapades from when she was a young girl, finding out about what sex is and how she grew up to a teenager and just had sex all the time. And then volume 2 follows the same girl telling is telling the same guy the story, but now she's talking about her adulthood and how it got more dark and twisted the older she got, about her sex addiction and stuff like that. And this movie stars like Shia LaBeouf and Christian Slater, William Dafoe, like a whole mess of people. I thought this movie was very interesting, very watchable. And what I'm trying to say here, when I went into this, I wasn't really expecting much. I'm like, whoa, a two-part movie, and they're both like 2 hours long. Oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, but I actually kind of really enjoyed this film. Definitely check this one out if you guys see it out there. I liked it. And next up over here from Severn is Bloody Birthday here on Blu-ray for the very first time in high definition. I've always been a fan of this film ever since I saw it on a DVD, and I had the DVD for years. I've always liked this cover a little bit more than the birthday one, but I've always had this film, and it's pretty much about these 3 kids that were all born on the same night in 1970, on a night where there's an eclipse in the sky, a full eclipse, and now these 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl, are 10 years old. They're celebrating their 10th birthday party. But now they're on the hunt for blood. They're terrorizing the city, killing people off one by one, taking out some of their parents, taking out their teachers, and just running wild all over their city. And it's all up to this one girl that's trying to figure out why they're doing this and what's wrong with them. I've always liked this slasher film. Any movie that has, like, the central characters are kids, I always really like Stand By Me, The Good Son. Any movies that have to do with kids, I've always really liked, and this is one of probably the coolest horror films that I've seen, back in the day. And just getting it on Blu-ray is just, like ultimate nostalgia memories for me. And the transfer on it was pretty damn good. I was really surprised by it. But also on this Blu-ray here, you get an audio interview with the director. All you can eat, like a little making of the film on here. It's like really short, but it's really worth watching. And the cool special feature that's on here is a brief history of a slasher film, and it's like 10 minutes long with this one guy talking about the history of slasher films, which I thought was really kind of cool. And it looked like it was shot in like a VHS kind of style. You get like the cracks and pops of a VHS in there. Look kind of cool. But if you see this Blu-ray out there, guys, definitely check it out from the Severn.com website. If you guys love 80s slashers, you guys would totally dig this one if you've never seen it before. Love it very much. And this next one is a movie from Severn also, which I've never seen before until I got this Blu-ray, and that is The Baby here. And it's pretty much about this one social worker going to this family's house on a routine trip, and she wants to see the baby of the house. And come to find out, the baby of the house is like a 30-year-old man in a crib that just craves bottles and wants to be pampered and taken care of. And she's trying to find out if this guy, if he's mentally challenged, or if he's being like abused, and or what's going on with this guy. And she kind of forms a relationship with the family, and how come to find out that the family might be creepy, might be normal. You don't know. But this movie was just really surprising to me. It came out back in 1973, and I mean, it has some really decent actors in this film. It's not like a weird B movie or anything. The story of it, feels like a B movie, but it's not. Really bizarre, really strange, and it has this really weird twist ending that make you go, huh? Like what the hell just happened? Kind of thing. But that's The Baby here on Blu-ray. Check it out, guys. I liked it. Alright, guys. Next up from Anchor Bay is Blue Ruin here on Blu-ray. This movie is pretty much about this one guy named Dwight. He's down on his luck, living on the streets, sleeping in his car, eating out of trash cans, until this one night, he gets a knock on his car door from his police officer saying, "Hey, I want you to come into the police station. I need to tell you something." Come to find out, he was told that this certain person is being let out of jail after all these years. And this movie is pretty much him going down there for revenge and, to kill this person. We have to watch this movie to find out why he wants to kill this person and what's going on in his mind. I thought this movie was a really decent, beautifully shot thriller, very well acted. You also get Devin Ratray in here, who you guys all know from Home Alone, who played Buzz. what's his name, Devin's friend or whatever, or Dwight's friend, sorry. And it was just a really cool movie. Didn't really know what to expect going into this one. It said it was like, it says on here it's a slow burn. To me, I thought it moved kind of, decently in this film. But on this Blu-ray here, you get an audio commentary track with the director. You also get a making of the film on here. Very, very decent original film. Give this one a chance if you guys see this one out there, guys. Very beautiful cinematography in that one. Next up is Road to Paloma here on Blu-ray. It's pretty much about this young Native American man named Wolf, who just killed the person that killed his mother, and he's on the run from the law, trying to get away from everything that just happened. And this movie's pretty much him trying to deal with, everything that just happened to him and what he did, and how he's, trying to, escape the law by riding his motorcycle across the country. And in this movie, he meets a couple of people, becomes friends with them, like Lisa Bonet from The Cosby Show. He strikes up a relationship with her, and that's pretty much it in this film. It's just like a road movie, kind of like Easy Rider in a way. It's like a biker flick, It was just okay. I thought the acting was just pretty decent in there. It was kind of really weird seeing Lisa Bonet out of nowhere pop into this film. Like, well, she only had like 5 or 6 lines, but it was just kind of random seeing her in this movie. This movie wasn't bad, but it just wasn't great. It was just kind of like, eh. But that's Road to Paloma. It was just, in my opinion. Alright, next up is The Human Race here on DVD. This movie was actually super cool. It's about these group of ordinary people that are snatched from their daily lives and forced to race to the death. And there's only a couple of rules that they have to follow or they're gonna die. Like, don't step on the grass or you'll die. Don't veer off the path or you'll die. Don't get lapped 2 times or you'll die. And the way these people die if they, don't follow these rules is their head blows up and blood flies everywhere. But the cool thing is about this movie, there's all different kinds of people in this race. Like there's a guy that's on crutches that has 1 leg that fought in a war. There's this old man that has a walker that he's not gonna be able to finish the race. There's these couple of deaf people in this movie. They can't hear what the hell's really going on until they arrive to the race. And it's just pretty much people trying to fight to the death and trying to stay alive in this race. I thought this was a very cool concept for a film. Absolutely loved it. It just looked like if they had a lot more money put into it, the movie could have looked a lot cooler than it actually was. But to me, the effort that they put behind this movie and the enthusiasm, you can really see it come across on the screen here. There's a lot of actors in there that you probably never seen or heard of before, but the thing is that doesn't matter. It really did work for this film. But definitely give this one a chance if you see it out there, guys. Very cool, action thriller thing about people just trying to stay alive. But that's a Human Race here on DVD. Alright guys, next up is a movie called Lullaby here on DVD, starring Terrence Howard, Jennifer Hudson, and Amy Adams. This is a movie about a family that's dealing with a really, depressing matter. The father of this family is decided to pull a plug on himself at the hospital because 12 years ago he was diagnosed with this disease, and he was told he only has a couple of months or weeks to live, but yet he lived for 12 years, and now it's coming to the end, and he's getting his family together so they can reconcile all their little differences that they had over the years, because the sons moved away years ago, and he's kind of like the rebel of the family. Now he's coming back to see his father for the one last time, and just try to deal with what's really going on. And I thought there was like a sub story in this movie where the son is walking around the hospital and meets this one 17-year-old girl that has cancer, and how they talk to each other, and how they have this little friendship that they make at the hospital. And I thought that sub story was really sweet. But if you see this out there, guys, it's very wonderfully acted, very, very sad. I cried like a fiend at the end of this flick. But I really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of you guys out there will too. Very, very good drama flick. And next up over here from Wellgo USA is a real bad movie I couldn't get into. It's called SX Tape or Sex Tape, whatever you want to call it. It's a new found footage film. What they say again, from the director of Candyman. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that could be okay. The director of Candyman. The Candyman movies are cool. No. It's a found footage film about this couple. One's a filmmaker that always films everything like a video blogger, and the girlfriend's an artist. And one day they're driving in their car, they see this abandoned hospital, and they're like, hey, let's go in there, and maybe we can find a spot to put on an art show. And once they go into that hospital, of course, crazy stuff starts happening. And do they get out of the hospital? You have to watch the movie to find out. I just thought this was just like a super generic found footage movie that had no decent scares in it whatsoever. Real kind of boring and generic. I really couldn't get into it. Even some of the scares that they had in it were just really weak. I don't know what it was, but it was just like, are they even trying when they're making this movie kind of thing? I don't know. But that's SX tape here on Blu-ray. I don't like saying that about movies, but but next up over here is from Inception Media Group, and that is The Junior Spy Agency. This is a new family film about these two young kids that run a detective agency that, you know, help people around their town and make money so they can go to college or do whatever they do. And they get this one case one day to try to help find this missing crystal chalice that was stolen 100 years ago, and it's foretold that it's in their town somewhere, and it's pretty much them trying to solve the mystery and try to find it and bring it back to its rightful place. And it stars Kevin Sorbo and Dee Wallace, and Kevin Sorbo, like in this movie, plays like the bad guy of the bad guy that wants to get the crystal chalice before anybody else so he can make his money. And of course he has these bumbling, fumbling goons that are alongside with him. It was just really mediocre. I mean, I've seen better child movies back in the 90s. They're not the same anymore. I mean, Kevin Sorbo, he's fine, but this movie I don't know what it was. This movie just like feels like a first-time filmmaker made it. It just felt really cheap, in my opinion. But that's the Junior Spy Agency. If you have a kid, maybe you would rent this one. But I just really couldn't get into it. I love family movies like Little Rascals and, you know, Richie Rich and things, but I couldn't get into that one. Alright guys, next up from Cinedigm is a family film I really loved, and it's called Ant Boy here on DVD. It's about this young 12-year-old boy named Pele. He's just like a normal dude, and like, you know, he really likes this one girl at school, the hottest girl in school, but yet she doesn't even know he exists. He gets picked on by bullies, and one day, as he's getting picked on from these bullies, he's running away from them down the street and hides into these bushes, you know, to get away from them, and gets bit by a super ant, and all of a sudden gets these powers to be able to climb walls, crush glasses, and like all this crazy stuff, and fight crime and all this kind of thing. And it's pretty much him coming to terms with him having these cool superpowers. And in this movie, he becomes friends with one of these nerdy kids at school that's really into comics. He really loves Spider-Man comics and knows all the ins and outs of like superheroes and things, and wants to become friends with Pele and just, you know, help him out, you know, being a superhero fighting crime and things. And of course, as soon as he becomes the ant boy, the cute girl in school really likes him now, and at the same time she gets kidnapped by his, you know, arch nemesis, the Flea. The Flea comes down and, you know, wants to go head to head with him and things, and it's pretty much him going back and forth with the Flea, trying to fight him to get his girlfriend back, or a girl that he really likes back. And you know, it's very, very much in the same vein as Spider-Man, but you know what? You know, I liked it. It was very, very fun. I think the whole family will enjoy this one. It's like it's like Spider-Man mixed with Kick-Ass, but with kids. You know what I mean? I thought it was very, very fun. I really love this movie, guys. Make sure you guys give this one a chance. Liked it very much. Next up is another family film I thought was absolutely charming, and that is Ernest and Celestine here on Blu-ray. This movie is pretty much about this young mouse named Celestine. She lives underneath the city where all these mouse people live and, you know, work and play and stuff. And ever since she was a kid, she was told that bears are mean. Stay away from the big bad bear, or they're gonna get you and eat you and rip you apart. And she she's like, no, not all bears could be mean, or they're not all evil. And she draws pictures of bears and things, and because she's an artist. And one day she goes above ground. When she's up there, she becomes friends with this one bear named Ernest, just a lonely kind of bear looking for food, trying to survive on his own. And they strike up this little beautiful relationship with one another, and just have this little adventure along the way. I really thought this movie was absolutely charming, wonderfully voice acted in this film by like Forrest Whitaker and Paul Giamatti, William H. Macy. There's a bunch of great voice talent in this film. The animation is not like Toy Story or anything like that. It's like a really cool 2D animation that I liked very, very much. Looked very, very beautiful on Blu-ray. Highly recommend this one. I liked it very, very much. That's Ernest and Celestine here on Blu-ray. And next up over here from Mill Creek is Gidget, the complete series here on DVD, starring Sally Field and what was the other guy's name? Don Potter. And it's pretty much about a 15-year-old teenage girl living in Southern California, loves surfing, loves boys, and it's just all the mischief that Gidget gets into, in this whole series. But Gidget's also played by Sally Field, who you guys all know from the movie Norma Ray, Mrs. Doubtfire, who played she played the mother in Mrs. Doubtfire. It's just really cool to see her young, really super young, and being a teenager in this show that only lasted like one season from like 1965 and 1966. And I don't know, I kind of like this one. I've never seen it on TV because I also wasn't really alive back then. But I thought it was really kind of an interesting watch. But next up over here is a TV show I think is absolutely funny, and it's the Larry Sanders Show, seasons 1 and 2 on DVD in this one cool pack together. And it's pretty much a show about the behind-the-scenes making of a late-night talk show like Jay Leno or Conan O'Brien or Jimmy Fallon and stuff like that, and all the ins and outs that happen behind the scenes, and how they get guests and how they struggle with producers and things. I thought it was absolutely funny. It was put on HBO back in the day. Has a lot of great guest stars in the show. You also get Janeane Garofalo, one of the funniest comedians out there today, and is working behind the scenes in the show. Really funny stuff. And it's just awesome that Mill Creek's putting out double pack season sets. I like that. I think it's cool. Alright guys, last but not least for my update today is Bewitched seasons 3 and 4 here on DVD. You guys all know this show. It's about Samantha Stevens, this witch that can, move stuff by twinkling her nose and things. And she's married to this guy named Darren. But the cool thing is about season 3 here is that Darren and Samantha now have a child named Tabitha. And in the first couple episodes, Tabitha just realized that, she has powers. And she's just a baby. She can touch her nose and she can move her teddy bear closer to her. And now the season's pretty much about Samantha not wanting to tell Darren that that his little baby has powers just like she does, and trying to keep that a secret. I thought that was a really cool thing for the season. I don't think I've ever seen those episodes before, but because I used to watch this show on Nick at Night back in the day, along with like I Dream of Jeannie and Mr. Ed, which I should get on DVD soon because I like Mr. Ed also. But it's just really cool that Mill Creek puts the seasons out in double packs now, like this one and the Larry Sanders Show and things, and they're only like $10 or less. You can find them in like Walmarts or Targets and things. But that's all I have to talk to you guys about for my update today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you guys like my videos. Also, drop a comment or two. Let me know how you're doing. I'd like to interact with you guys more in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time.